Hey guys, welcome back. We got some farts too, or what? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're in a Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorano. This car came out in 2007. It's the predecessor to the Ferrari F12, and I've always been kind of curious with these cars. I mean, growing up, I loved this car. I always thought it looked cool. Front engine V12, it's more of a GT cruiser car. I think I sort of slept on Ferrari, kind of underrated. I feel like the F12 kind of just overshadowed this car and everyone kind of forgot about it. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I barely knew this thing existed. Like now that people talk about the F12, they talk about the 812.
Yeah, you don't.
No one really talks about the 599.
You don't see this car on the road either all that often. I feel like this car has aged quite well.
It has.
Like, I think it's very elegant, especially the flying buttresses in the back.
It looks great.
It's very wide. So we're gonna see now, I mean, this car new was over $300,000. Now you can pick them up for mid to high $100,000 range. I wanna take it out and see what makes it, I think it's just a really fun experience and why you should potentially buy a 599 in 2023. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. If you'd like to see all my future supercar content, including plenty of car reviews to come. So we're starting off in the default setting, which is just your sports setting. Being a Ferrari, you do have your Manettino on the steering wheel. A few
That's
extras.
a silly word.
Manettino?
That's a silly word.
Tell it to Ferrari.
Ferrari, that's a silly word, bro.
Cease and desist on the way. Anyways, yeah, you do have your race setting, wet setting, ice setting. Let's get some of the numbers out of the way here. We are working with a 6-liter Ferrari Enzo derived V12. That alone should be all you need to hear. 612 horsepower, 6-speed single clutch F1 paddle shift transmission. Standard procedure from this time period of Ferraris. It's one of the final versions of the F1 transmission, so I'd say it's one of the best performing.
Okay.
Okay, right. Those shifts quicken up like that.
All right.
That is much fast. I've honestly never really spent much time in a 599. I've always kind of wanted to. Those shifts are quick.
That was nice.
Under throttle, they're quick. And that wasn't even race mode. Not as snappy as like the Scuderia, but I mean, it does sound nice. Revs to 8,500 RPM. And let's not forget, this is a V12. The holy grail. Zero to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Top speed is 205 miles an hour. Miles to the gallon, 6.
-3.
Oh. Compared to the F12, it feels big. F12 was a little bit more, it kind of felt like it shrunk in size of it. This is still that kind of classic old school big boy Ferrari.
More of a cruiser. It feels like it.
It does feel like a cruiser. It sort of floats along the road and it's not a super aggressive feeling car. It sounds good though. And I suspect it'll be relatively comfy. Let me go over the portion of the road that we always go over.
Oh boy. Hold up. Hold up.
Hold up.
Hold up.
Other than a Rolls Royce, which I guess we haven't really reviewed a Rolls Royce, but that's probably the comfiest supercar.
One of the McLarens?
Yeah,
nice?
McLarens ride really nice, obviously, but this kind of has like a sort of, it's very plush. It doesn't feel like you're just like stuck on the road. I mean, it has, I'm sure, phenomenal grip at the limit. And yeah, again, it's just hard to beat a V12. It feels big.
It does.
Like in here, I mean, all Ferraris are pretty spacious.
But this is crazy.
This is crazy.
This is nuts.
This is, if I was 900 pounds, I'd still be fine.
That's not true.
What are you talking about? What, from personal experience? But I will say, I do like these seats.
Seats are comfy?
These are the optional like carbon bucket seats, which I think they're good looking, they're comfy. They're not like the super thin race seats like in this, like the more modern Ferraris. Visibility is actually pretty good. This has the optional carbon interior packs. It's fucking Splenda. Carbon paddles, carbon steering wheel with the LEDs, carbon dash, carbon central tunnel area. Everything is leather. Gets a little squirrely in the back,
Dude,
I'll say, because it still feels like you're sort of float. I keep saying that, but it just feels very, is the proper word like aloof? Isn't that like a word? Aloof?
Bro, are we doing a vocabulary test? I like this spec a lot.
Yeah,
it's very like...
It's classic.
Ferrari,
it's textbook Ferrari.
It really is.
Rosso Corsa on tan with those sort of challenge-looking wheels, which I think are the better wheels. These types of Ferraris, they're known as the gentleman's Ferraris. And it does feel that. I feel classy in this car. Ooh. And you know what, in the corners, I mean, it's doing this job it's still a Ferrari. The front end is quite long, so you do have to kind of adjust. Compared to like the mid-engine cars, it's a very different driving dynamic, and it feels completely different. You sit further back, you have to, placing the car is a little bit trickier because it is quite wide, but also, like I said, just that front end is elongated. So let's go into race mode. Okay, I will say off the bat, I can already tell race mode is firmed up the suspension to get a bit, not quite as floaty. I mean, it's still a GT car. Okay. Okay. Yeah, transmission's a bit snappier. I will say it's not the most confidence-inspiring acceleration. It feels kind of like all over the place a little bit. It doesn't feel as stuck to the ground like, you know, say in like a McLaren or a Huracan. But again, this doesn't compete with those cars. So I mean, I guess if you were to compare this with something from the time, I guess, a Murcielago, I'm sure that sounded amazing from the outside for everybody else. It's a little quiet inside because there's a lot of sound deadening. It does have carbon ceramic brakes. This is still a car you could drive every day easily. Proper trunk.
Whoa. Whoa.
You have a pretty large rear shelf. It's a car that I would be happy to take long distances. It would be a really fun car to take across the south of France.
Wow, that's hyper-specific, but true.
Well, I'm not taking this around Florida. This does have carbon ceramic brakes. Headroom, I mean, it's a lot. Those wipers were so smooth.
I was gonna say, those wipers worked really well. That shit was nice, bro. Do that one more time. Come on.
People potentially are a little scared of it being a V12 and just maintenance costs, but it does seem like the 599 is relatively reliable, at least by Ferrari standards. I mean, I haven't heard of too many major issues with these cars. Other people kind of test to that as well. Really, with this being an F1 transmission, the clutch does have to be replaced at some point, which ain't cheap. I think at this price point, I think it is a fantastic buy. Could even argue that it's a bargain getting a powerful V12 Ferrari for under $200,000. Pretty rare occurrence. The 550s have gone up, 575s. These are at that price point where I think it's a little bit more attainable than an F12, of course, and it is a lot of fun.
I went from, like, I couldn't give whoa.
What?
I couldn't give less of a shit about a 599, and now I'm rocking with it. Like, now that we've taken it out.
And I think, man, this shit is taking forever. I ain't gonna lie. It's taken far too long.
This joint is not to my satisfaction. I'm straight up displeased right now with this light. Mary Jane Castor, I know you watch these videos. Fix this.
Who's Mary Jane?
Mary Jane Castor?
It's like, what are you, Peter Parker?
Brother, do you live here?
Hang on, Mary Jane.
Mary Jane Castor.
Mayor?
I met at the grand opening of the Shake Shack in Midtown. I didn't actually meet her, but she was
tell
there,
her she's mid.
and I was the first in line. I'm not going to do that because I actually kind of like Mary Jane Castor.